Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Christine's Stampin' Spot, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I am really excited to share with you a brand new bundle. It is not in the annual catalog. This is a bundle that will be available for the month of August only, August 2018. So starting August 1st, 2018, you can order this bundle. As a demonstrator, we have the opportunity to order the bundle in the month of July, so we could play with it and make some samples for our customers. I'm going to be doing a card class on this particular bundle. It will be my first class in August, and my classes are announced on Tuesdays, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I was creating a bunch of these cards to send out in a swap, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to go ahead and show you my swap card and show you how I made it. So first, let's go over what is in the bundle. We have this, I think I was most excited about this, a brand new package of watercolor pencils. This is Watercolor Pencils assortment number 2, so we get more colors. We have all of these additional colors now, and this includes Cherry Cobbler, Flirty Flamingo, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and Gorgeous Grape. So we have these assortment 2 of watercolor pencils in this bundle, and then we also have the Blended Seasons stamp set, which consists of 2 cases because this floral image is so big. It's so beautiful. Look at this stamp set. Again, this is called Blended Seasons. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. For today's card, I decided to play with the leaves. I kind of thought everyone in the swap might be drawn to this one, which was, of course was the first image I was drawn to, but I thought I'd change it up and do some leaves for a fall card for my swap. But don't worry, I will be doing some cards with that beautiful floral image soon. And also in the bundle is coordinating framelit dies called Stitched Seasons Framelit Dies, and they look like this, and they are absolutely gorgeous. So you have this beautiful shape here. You have 3 different sizes of this gorgeous shape that has stitching, both on the positive and negative, and let me show you what I mean. So when you cut this out, this is the negative, and you have stitching there along the outside. Can you see that? So you could use this as a frame. And then of course you also have the shape itself, which also has stitching on it. So that's pretty cool. And then you also have a really pretty leaf image. This coordinates with the bell here in the stamp set. And then you have some floral images as well as a bow. So really, really neat bundle available for a limited time in August of 2018. Now let me show you the card that I prepared today. Again, this was a swap card, so I had to make a bunch of these. So it's not incredibly fancy, but it does use the watercolor pencils, a couple of the new colors as well as some from the original pack. And it does some embossing, some watercoloring, and it's just a cute little fun thank you card. So let's go ahead and get started with this card. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and stamp your image. And again, I chose to use here this leaf image here for a fall card. So what you want to do, if you're using watercolor, you always want to use your black Stays-On ink for watercolor. I've already gone ahead and placed the image on an acrylic block. These are red. You can get these in Clearmount or wood blocks. These are your red rubber stamps though. So you want to ink it up really good in your Stays-On ink. If you want to color with alcohol markers such as our Stampin' blends, you would use the Memento. But for watercolor, you use the Jet Black Stays-On ink. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this down on my watercolor paper. I don't think I mentioned that before. This is watercolor paper, by the way. And there we have our pretty floral, leaf image, fall image for our leaves. I'm just going to clean that stamp off really quick. Okay, so to save time, what I wanted to do next was go ahead and cut this out using the second largest of these shapes. And this is again, the negative image that I showed you before that has the stitching on the outside. And so then you would just line this up here and run it through your Big Shot in a normal cutting sandwich. To save time, I already did that. So this is what it looks like cut out, and as you can see, it has the stitching on the inside as well. So there's stitching all along this image. It's quite beautiful. All right, so the colored pencils that I'm going to be using to color this image are from the original package, which was the first assortment that's in the catalog. I used Pumpkin Pie, and I used Real Red and Daffodil Delight. And then from the new package, I used Cherry Cobbler and Granny Apple Green. You want to make sure when you're doing watercoloring that you have a paper towel nearby, and then you also want to have an aqua painter. Now our aqua painters come in a package of 2, and you get 2 different sizes. This is the size, the one that I'm going to be using today, which is the smaller size. This is the bigger size, which is better for doing, you know, large washes across a large portion of cardstock or something like that. But we're just going to use the small tipped one today. To get started, I like to squeeze it onto my paper towel just to get the water flowing into the fiber here, the brush part of the aqua painter. So it's ready to go. It's nice and wet. So we're going to go ahead and start coloring. This is so easy to do. All you do literally, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to color this big leaf first, and you just literally scribble down some color. I feel it's probably going to be darkest in the sort of the center and then at the little veins of the leaf. And where you lay your colored pencil down is where it's going to be the darkest. Now I'm just going to run my aqua painter over where I have placed that colored pencil down, just to start getting that color flowing. Now I'm going to wipe off occasionally on my paper towel as I go along here, and I'm just going to fill in the white space now in sort of a circular motion. And you'll see as we're doing this that it slowly fades into a lighter color. Occasionally you want to wipe that tip off of your aqua painter on your paper towel so it doesn't get too bright, because you're pulling that pigment, so sometimes you will lose the natural shading if you don't clean the tip off, if that makes sense. It'll just be bright orange all the way across. I'm going to do the other side of the leaf now. Same thing, just scribbling on a line of color. So easy to do. And I'm going to now just do the same thing, run it over where I have placed that color down, and then start cleaning the tip off and then filling in the white space that remains in a circular motion. I find that one squeeze at the beginning was really all I needed to do one full coloring of all of these leaves. If you're doing more than, you know, this, or maybe you're doing several of these at one time, you might have to squeeze again about halfway through. But otherwise, you don't want to be squeezing too much, because it's going to zap up all of your color. Okay, I'm going to work on a leaf now that's a little further away from the orange leaf, so we don't get any colors sort of meshing together while this is drying. But let me bring this up quickly to the camera. Can you see, and I hope the camera picks this up, but it's really pretty, the different shading that you get using these watercolor pencils. Do you see how we have some of the darker orange along the line, the veins of the leaf, and then it's lighter as you work your way out? So hopefully the camera is picking that up. Now for this little leaf, I decided to do part in green and part in the pumpkin pie. So the green I'm using again is the Granny Apple Green from the new colored pencil packet that will be available in August as part of this bundle. And I'm just scribbling down some orange and some pumpkin pie and some Granny Apple Green. I'm going to, again, you just simply go over what you scribble down first, then clean your tip off and sort of blend it all together. Sometimes leaves will be part one color and part another as they start to change, so I thought that might be fun on this little leaf here. And there you go, that one's done. Super quick, super simple. Now let's come over and do this leaf here. And in this leaf I'm going to be doing in Real Red. So I'm just going to do half of the leaf first, like I did with the first one. For the bigger leaves, I like to work in smaller sections. So as you can see, I've literally just laid some color down there. Not much color at all. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I think you might be able to see a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So I've just laid down just a little tiny bit of the Real Red there. I'm going to go over now with my aqua painter what I have laid down, just going right over what I just scribbled down, clean off the tip, and now in a circular motion start blending this out to the white space. And I like to use a circular motion because I just find that I don't get blotchiness. Sometimes if you don't use a circular motion, you'll just kind of get like a wet spot in the middle of your coloring. And so, you know, that is a legitimate watercolor look. So if you like that, leave it. But sometimes I just like it to look a little bit more together and polished. So to avoid that, I do the circular motion. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Real Red again and come over and do the other side, the other half of the leaf. Again, you can see I've literally just scribbled some lines of color on with the colored pencil. Going over it again with the aqua painter, cleaning the tip off, and now in that circular motion, I am coloring in the rest of our leaf. And there we go. All done. Super easy. Now, if you go out of the lines, I went out of the line a little bit right here. Just make sure that no color comes off your aqua painter so it's nice and clean. And then you simply push the ink. In this case, it's actually, you know, the colored pencil, but it's sort of acting like ink at this point now that we've got it wet. And you just get it up. It just comes right up onto the tip of your aqua painter. And then you can use your paper towel to dot it. And that's how you can fix any time you go out of the lines. All right, let's come over now and do this leaf. And we're going to do this one in real red again. This orange one should be nice and dry, so we can now come over here without worrying that we're going to contaminate the orange. So I've laid down some color again, and I'm just putting my aqua painter over where I have scribbled that color down. And now in a circular motion, I'm going to get into the rest of the white space that remains. And this technique will, like I said, it will give you that fun gradation of color from your light to your dark. So it'll just make your image pop a little bit more. I'm going to do the other half of this leaf now, same way, just scribbling some color down. And as you can see, your lines of color completely go away with this aqua painter. You don't see chalky or smudgy lines of color at all when you do this type of coloring. Those lines disappear once this colored pencil hits the water. It's just a really cool effect, I think. Now we're going to do the little middle leaf, and that I chose Daffodil Delight. I'm going to do half of it again here. Just putting that color down in the center and along the veins of the leaf, going over the color that I've put down with the pencil, and then just bringing it into the white space. Same thing on the other side. Okay, just a little bit of color down there, and then in a circular motion spread the color out to the rest of the leaf. And then finally we have this leaf to do, and this one I'm going to do in Cherry Cobbler, one of the new colors. I'm so excited. This is a smaller leaf, so I'm going to go ahead and just do both sides of it just to kind of save some time. I'm going to take the aqua painter over the color I scribbled down, clean the tip off, and then fill in the rest of the white space. And periodically, you just clean that tip off so you don't get extra color. You can still get the lightness to show through. Okay. Now the last step is to take that Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to come in and color in the little stems. I'm just going to put a little bit of color at the top of the stem of the leaf and a little bit of color at the bottom, and then we'll use our aqua painter to combine those little sections of color, and it'll just have a nice little look to it that will sort of look as if it was you know, just that light to dark shading again. Okay, so we are done with our coloring. Look how simple that was. I mean, we did that so fast, and we have this really pretty colored panel. It's not as bright as if you were using your Stampin' Blends or even the ink from your ink pads. I've done a couple videos on that as well, where, you know, you squeeze the ink at the top, get it in the top of your ink pad, and then you know, use your aqua painter that way. This is a lot more of a subtle look. But it's very, very beautiful in its own right, I think. So we're done with our aqua painter now. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside, stick the paper towel aside, and we're just going to set this aside for a minute, let it dry, and put the rest of the card together. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring over this piece of crumb cake, and this is cut to, let me think, this is 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to take the thank you sentiment from the stamp set, which is right here, which is nice and big, and it's a beautiful font as well. And I'm going to take some crumb cake ink, got the wrong one there, crumb cake ink. We're just going to ink up our thank you sentiment, and we're going to stamp it in the bottom right hand corner of this panel of crumb cake cardstock. So right down here. Just stamp it down and lift it up, and there you go. There's our pretty little sentiment. And there are others that you could use as well if you wanted to change the sentiment up. We are done with our stamping now, so we can put our ink pads aside. I'm going to bring over now a piece of real red cardstock, and this measures 5 1/4 by 4, and we're going to layer our crumb cake right on top of that of that Real Red cardstock. Let me zoom out now just a little bit since I'm no longer coloring so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So we're going to put some adhesive now on the back of the crumb cake. And then we will simply stick this down in the center of our Real Red cardstock. Just like so. All right, and now we're going to take this whole panel and place it on top of our thick Whisper White card base, which is a standard A2 size card base, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we'll just put plenty of adhesive on the back here, and then center this on top of our card base, like so. There we go. Now we're going to take a piece of our gold foil paper, and I've already run this through my Big Shot with our Garden Trellis embossing folder, and I think that's so beautiful on the gold paper. And this is just going to layer right here, and this measures 5 by 2 inches. So we're going to put adhesive on the back, and when you do embossing like this, you want to make sure that you put a little bit of extra adhesive just so it sticks firmly down. Okay, so we're going to place this just slightly above that sentiment, and there we go. Stick that down. Okay, very nice. So now we are ready to take our little panel that we have watercolored, and we're going to stick that right to the left hand side of our card, and we're going to stick that down with dimensionals. So I'm going to flip it over and grab 4 dimensionals here and just stick them down on the back. We'll peel the backings off. And then this will go right here, like so. Okay, now from the die set I showed you at the beginning of the video, there is this beautiful leaf. So I thought to kind of keep the gold thing together, I would cut it out of our gold foil paper, and I've already done that to save time, and this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to grab some scratch paper really quickly here and just grab some adhesive. You could also use glue, but I'm just doing this quickly for the purposes of the video. I'm just adding some adhesive to the back of it, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it down here along the side of our beautiful panel here, like so. Okay, just an added little pop, an added little bit of texture. And then finally I created this little tiny bow out of my linen thread. I'm not even sure if you can see that on the camera, but I'm going to use a mini glue dot and just sort of wrap that along the back, so it make it really small with your fingers so it doesn't cause any, excess sticky. And I'm just going to place that right on the little base of the leaf, the gold leaf. And then for a final touch, we're going to take some metallic pearls in the gold color and just stick them along the top here. I'm just going to add 3 of them. And there you go, guys. That's our card. Super simple, super easy, but I wanted to show you this new bundle, and I wanted to also show you how to do some watercoloring. So that's our card. Here's the bunch that I made for the swap. As you can see, they're all the same. Just they were really fun to put together. I really think you guys are going to like this new bundle. Okay, so that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will have all the details on this card on my blog, and there'll be a link to my blog in the description box of this video below. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.